Okay, good morning, everybody. My name's James Wilmot. I look after careers across the Priory Learning Trust, and I'm here with Miss Leatherby, who's to my left, who looks after careers here specifically at TCASA. We're doing our morning information sessions, and this morning we've got Andy from Falmouth University, who does outreach in this region, and he's going to talk to you about Falmouth University, play a couple of slides, play a clip with a few Q&A at the end, and then we will circulate this for viewing later. Over to you, Andy.
Thanks, James, very much, and welcome and hello, everyone. And I'm going to talk a bit about creative careers. You might not have known what a creative career is, and I'm going to talk about some of our courses, what can lead on to those careers in that creative industries. So hopefully you can all see my screen. I'm going to play an intro film just to show a snapshot of what we do at Falmouth.
Andy, you need to unmute yourself to play the clip.
That's a snapshot of Falmouth. You saw some of the location. We're in Cornwall. We're probably about 3 hours away from Bristol, so it's not that far away, but we're surrounded on three sides by sea. We have about 5,500 students at our university, and we share the campus with Exeter University, even though we are a different university. This next slide is just to show you three comments I've heard, and I've heard two of them said by teachers. They say you can never have a career as an artist, you can't make money from being a creative, and you should focus on a proper subject. And I put these up there is to dispel the myth about the creative industries and creative subjects. It's far more than art and design. There's games, there's architecture. There is so much in this creative industries. And when people are saying there is no jobs, I'm just going to show you a few slides what actually shows how many jobs there actually are in the UK and what it's worth to the UK economy. And if you think this is just the UK, imagine in the European or in a global scales, there is so many opportunities in these creative industries. In 2020, the figures were taken in 2019. It's worth £112 billion to the UK economy. This is the creative industry. So that's, as I said, everything from A to Z in that industry. In 2018, there's 3.2 million jobs. It's about 1 in 10 jobs in the UK are in the creative industries. And new jobs added to this industry. So it's growing at twice the rate of any other industry in the UK. Okay, so since 2018, another 81,000 jobs have been added, and there's more and more jobs. We are in a difficult place with the COVID, but there still needs to be that creative design and function and going on. So you are in demand. Employers are actively seeking out creative people to come in all different types of industries. Always the slide goes wrong. So I put this slide up here because what I was saying earlier on about creativity, it cannot be automated. So many sort of manufacturing and jobs are being automated. They say in maybe 10 to 15 years, accountancy could be almost fully automated with what you're doing, but creativity cannot be. Employers are looking for these skill sets. So you might have done a more science background with one subject in a creative zone, and that's brilliant because people like banking sector or insurance and the alike are looking for problem solvers who have that creative mind. So as a an employee, you are going to be in so much demand going forward. You might wonder, why do I need to go to university? And university is a personal choice. It's about what's right for you and looking where your career path might go. But if you are considering looking at the creative industries, okay, currently 78% of people in the creative industries have an undergraduate degree. Once you have a degree, it's there for life. But university is more than just an academic journey. It is about growing up. It's about, meeting lifelong friends and learning in that social area as well. So it's not just in that academic area why people go to university. But if you do want to get into this creative industries, you might need to consider going through a degree route. There's lots of great universities out there. It's about exploring all those different options. Now, how do you get to university? I get asked this all the time, okay? So where you probably are there, you're in your GCS cycle, you could be sitting a BTEC or an A-level. So GCSEs first, and then you're looking at a different approach. Now, you can do a more traditional A-level route, or you can go down one of the more vocational courses that we offer. We really don't mind at Falmouth which route you go down. You can have a mix and match of A-levels and BTECs. What we're looking for is a level of points what all these qualifications add up to. So don't feel that you have to do A-levels to get to creative industries. You can do a BTEC and still do architecture. It's quite an exciting world out there, and it's about choices what are made by you and in your career path. And then obviously, if you fancy a foundation degree, that's an extra year before you go to university. Again, that's a personal choice, and it's a great way of sometimes exploring several different subjects that you love, but you haven't quite made up your mind which one you want to do at university. And then, hopefully, after university, you can either go into a postgraduate type of qualification or find yourself actually doing the career that you've always wished. At Falmouth, it is a different experience, okay? It's not about sitting in lecture halls, learning and someone doing a PowerPoint presentation and talking at you. Majority of our courses, over 70% of our courses are practical. That's what we teach. We have no final exams. We have a continuous assessment model. So over the 3 years, you're assessed on your abilities. And we understand in the first year, you're probably not going to be there and you're still learning, but we're going to give you the skill sets to bring up in that first year to the second to the third year. By the end of it, hopefully you are ready. The equipment that you would use at Falmouth is what you would find in any film design studio. So we're giving you that hands-on experience. So to our courses. I've put them in slight boxes. There's a couple of repeats here, but just to show you the depth of courses we do at Falmouth. It is more than art and design, but I am going to start off with art and design. So you can see, if you want a more sort of traditional in our Falmouth School of Art, you can do drawing, you can do illustration, and you can do fine art. Our illustration course is geared towards that commercial sector. In drawing and illustration, you get your own space. You don't even have to pack away. It's yours each year, your own personal space. Then we're looking at product design, but looking very much in the more sustainable things, looking at reuse, different types of materials, but we have a full engineering workshop as well. So if you're interested in engineering and creativity, it's a perfect match. We do architecture. You don't need an A-level maths to come and do architecture at Falmouth. Okay, you don't need a science as a main course. It's great if you can do one of them, but our architecture is recognized as a part one, a course which has the official accreditation by the body. So there will be no difference between a part one course at Falmouth or another university what may require maths or science to do it. It is recognized as a professional qualification as well as an undergraduate degree. Fancy a world of advertising? You've probably watched lots of adverts, from YouTube to TV to Netflix. People are paid lots of money to be in this industry, to come up with crazy ideas, to sell items and ideas to it. It's not just about selling products. It's sometimes selling an idea or campaigning. And then we have a traditional graphic design course, what literally covers everything. If you fancy a bit of an interior designer, it's more than a stylist. It's 60% of the course is architecture, but with also brand awareness and internal styling. Then you might want to think about interior design. And then we have textile design. You can design your own wallpaper, clothing, materials. So if you're looking much more of a stylist, then maybe interior design is one for you. I think one of the cool things I love about this course is that it has a science lab as part of the textiles lab, and you can literally go into our gardens and pick herbs and flowers, and then come in and use the science lab to create your own dyes. We have a dye lab, and it's just amazing. So you've got that mix of science and creativity where you're making your own dyes, which then goes on your own materials. It's pretty exciting, and I think so. So we're into animation, film, and TV. We teach we're one of the sort of 7 select film schools in the UK. That's a pretty difficult thing to be awarded. We've been teaching film at Falmouth for about 50 years, and we split film and TV out. If you're more about the cinema, slightly more academic than film. If you love television, and when we talk about television, we talk about Netflix and online platforms. So television is much more about that short turnover, that short production type of stuff. Animation covers everything from stop motion to digital 3D, what you might see in Pixar or any Disney film. And then we've got one of our newest courses is costume design for film and TV. And it's a hybrid between our fashion department and our film department. And you're literally making costumes. If you've seen any of those films on Netflix or Witcher or Game of Thrones, they need people to make those costumes, and there is a massive shortage of those skill sets in the industry. And then if you're looking at post-production and visual effects, that's the magic, what happens after the filming has stopped. You're going in and you're doing all the sound, the coloring, and everything else. And again, there is so much demand for out there for people in this industry. Quickly moving on to fashion. We have several fashion courses. We have a business fashion marketing. So it's again another hybrid between business and fashion, and it looks at traditional business methods and fashion methods, but it also looks at new technology, how we're advertising to you, Instagram, how you're getting your message across. Sportswear design, looking at sportswear, both in leisure and in its professional capacity. So there's a bit of technical side in there. Fashion design literally covers everything. Fashion photography, again, if you're interested in photography, but into the fashion element, you can go down this route. And I've already talked about textile design, but this is the type of courses in our Fashion and Textiles Institute. We do English and we do journalism. There's a couple of courses what we're currently rewriting, which is journalism and sports journalism. The reason we're rewriting them is to make them more ready for the industry. The industry is changing, and we need to change our courses to reflect the industry. This is what we do at Falmouth. We don't just sit there and go, well, we've done journalism this way for the last 40 years. We're going to carry on that way. We look at what the industry demands and we adapt our courses to it. So if you want to be more of a creative writer, then which covers screenwriting, it covers writing for games and all sorts in there. And then if you like English and creative writing, then you can use that hybrid and do both. As I said, we're always looking at where the industry is and aligning our courses to it. Photography, 5 courses. You might think, wow, that's quite a lot of courses. But again, you get that professional photography knowledge, but also then starting to specialize. So if you're looking at photojournalism, press and magazines area, we have press and editorial. We have marine and natural history photography. It's a cool course. It also can include underwater photography. It's easy to say, it's a wildlife environmental photography course. BA photography, it literally is everything from fine art to commercial photography. And if you're looking much more in that commercial area, then we have commercial photography. You have about £2.5 million worth of equipment to play with on your course, all free studios, professional studios. You've got equipment there which you could maybe, as a professional photographer, you could only dream of owning, but it's yours as a student to practice and explore your artistic talents with. We're creative, but we do business. This is what we're trying to show you about Falmouth. It's not just about that drawing and art business. So we've got 2 brand new courses: Sustainable Festival Management and Sustainable Tourism Management. They're 2-year courses. They're pretty exciting because they're done on first year with us, and the second year you're actually at the Eden Project delivering some of their stuff, working alongside us. So you're getting practical experience. You're still getting a degree, okay, but it's giving you those real skill sets for employability. And then business entrepreneurship, business management, and business and digital marketing. The entrepreneurship, you can run your own company at Falmouth, and if it makes any money, you keep it. We have creative events management, if you're looking at more of that events management side. So it just shows you the scope of what we're doing at Falmouth. And next is games and computing. We are rated in the top 40 in the world for undergraduate games design. There's only 2 other places in the whole of Europe what are higher than us. So we make games at Falmouth. This is not just about the theory. You actually literally make games in teams. It's very much like any professional AAA studio, independent studio, how we work it. So there's a whole different way of doing this, from immersive computing, robotics, computing for games. If you're more of an art person, you can go down the art route. And then we have animation, audio, design, program, and writing. If you've ever played a game, short or long, the storyboard on there is needed. So they need creative writers to come up with those storyboards, what are part of those games. We have, a huge warehouse full of high-tech kit where you're in there with your teams making games, and you make between 4 and 6 games over your 3 years. They don't all work, but some of our games do actually end up on platforms like Steam, and the students retain the intellectual property rights. So if they make any money, it's all theirs. And then we're going to talk about performing theatre and music. Again, at Falmouth, it's called the Academy of Music and Theatre Arts, shortened to AMATA. And we do music, pop music. The difference is if you're more classically trained, it's more music. If you're more singer-songwriter in a band, then it's pop music. And then we do musical theatre, theatre performance, and acting. We split them out because there is quite some skill sets in there. If you're more backstage, technical theatre arts. This is real magic. You're looking about how stages are built, lighting, the electrical side of it. You're working alongside all the other students, gaining real knowledge. And if you are in musical theatre, you've got to understand how all this works, and you get to set your own sets up as well. And then dance and choreography and creative music technology. This is where this doesn't look at the music industry. It also uses this sort of technology in the film and games industry. Hopefully you're starting to see what I'm talking about, that there's lots of collaboration going on at Falmouth. Photography students work with our dancers and vice versa. Actors work with our game students doing voiceovers or motion capture. This is about working alongside like you would in the industry. So a quick couple of slides, is about hands-on experience. You wonder where your money is going, why are you paying student fees? Look at the facilities. This is really important. Your money is being spent on you in the facilities and the academic master classes as such. We have lots of partners, either locally, nationally, and internationally. And we do have great graduate outcomes. Our students get jobs, and they get jobs what are well paid. You tend to start in a lower wage in the beginning, but actually our brand is really well known in this creative industries. So, summing up, it is creative, it is a vibrant community, you're working alongside people. Talked about the professional standard equipment. This is where your money is being spent on. We also understand we do something, a non-teaching day on Wednesdays, where you can sign up to other workshops, other courses. So say fancy you're on a photography and you fancy learning a bit about welding or you can sign up to one of the courses, do welding in that sort of sustainable product design and learn about it. And twice a year in pre-COVID times, we do a workshop festival for a whole week where our students sign up for different types of courses and learn a bit more. Students want to learn more about other courses, so we actually allow it as part of your course. And in Cornwall, we're in Cornwall. It is a beautiful place, inspiring. The light's amazing. There's so much to do. You know, you won't get bored socially as a student. I often joke that you'll run out of money before you run out of festivals, but it's something for everything. Falmouth is quite it's quite an exciting town. It's a mixture of students, locals. It's got a marina. It's got a dockyard. It is a really vibrant place. There's always live music going on somewhere in Falmouth. At the moment, still study abroad. We have lots of placements, and you know, as I said, our academics are drawn not from the sort of, we might think they've been in teaching forever. They're actually drawn from the industry. They come in, and we bring specialisms in for certain areas. So that's really a whistle-stop tour of what we do at Falmouth. Happy to answer any questions. Check us out. Go to our website. You know, do some research. I should suggest you research at least 10 universities before you've even made your final choices, because there's so much choice out there, and you've got to find the course which is right for you, and that needs a bit of prep and a bit of exploring. So I just stopped sharing my screen, and hopefully I might have a couple of questions.
Any questions from the students? Still thinking. I'll fill the thinking time if that's okay. Yeah. Andy, I wanted to ask you about architecture, yes. Because you know that's a very specific progression to become a fully qualified architect. I was really interested to hear you say that you don't need A-level maths to study architecture at Falmouth. Would it help if you study A-level art?
Yeah, it does actually. And actually history or geography or science, it really is. If you think about architecture, history, it takes inspiration from history. And some of the things what we believe strongly is about sustainability at Falmouth. And if you understand geography, when you're designing a building, you understand how landscapes work and the natural environment, and you're designing with the environment in mind. This is what we want. And to be an architect, it does take quite a few years. On average, it's about 7 to 8 years to be a fully fledged architect. And you need 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And you can actually get part 1 and part 2 at Falmouth. And then your part 3 is more professional development when you've had a couple of years of industry experience. But our architecture course is both RIBA and ARB accredited, and these are the national bodies, and they basically, any architecture will have a RIBA and ARB accreditation, and that's what makes our course really exciting. It is about good design. You know, 60% of the course is about design. Yes, if you can do maths, amazing. If you have a science, amazing. But also if you come from a geography, history, art background, that's also amazing. And it brings the whole design process, different types of people for different backgrounds, and it actually comes up with exciting buildings.
Thanks, Andy. My next question is regarding the games design degrees that you offer.
Yes.
Often, certainly pre-GCSE, when Miss Leatherby and I meet a lot of students, many want to go into games design or games testing, and they feel that the attribute they have is just that they enjoy playing games. They want to move into the industry. What further skills and attributes should they be developing if they really do want to get into the games industry?
Teamwork, collaboration, and how you're doing it. No one in the industry can do everything. Set yourself on where you want to do. If you want to be more of an artist, look at if you want to be an environmental artist, a character artist, going in this. Start to look at some specialisms. If you do want to be in the art world or that game art world, you need to have some digital skills. Okay, so start practicing ZBrush, get yourself a cheap Wacom or something, and start. We will bring you up to skills. But actually, it's more than just that 2D work. You need to have good, decent digital skills. Coding. Coders don't do art, and artists don't do coding. If you love coding, you can literally get in any ways, from a very entry level where there's no pre-requirements for a coding experience, all the way up to immersive computing. If you're looking at immersive computing, we would want you to have some coding experience like Java or C#, or Python, but we will bring you up to the skills. But look at, if you want to get into it's more than the games industry. If you look at virtual reality, immersive computing, it is used in the military and it's used in the medical. So the skills you're learning in that game environment are transferable into other things. And if you're thinking about how surgeons are being trained now, they used to train on, certain ways, or live people, or some, carcasses. Now they're using virtual reality as a training method. You might think that's a game, but it has a real scientific set. So your skill set in coding and art and all that other stuff can actually be transferred into another ways. It's not easy to get into the games industry, but you've got to be able to have the best skill sets you have and are able to work alongside people, because that's how the industry works.
Good. So playing games isn't enough for a career in
No,
gaming. You've got to build those
and
skills.
I would actually say, if you just want to go play games, a games course is not right for you, because you're so busy working, creating your game. You might not even have time to play your games or want some refresh away from the game industry. Being a play tester is not the games industry. That's what you do in your leisure time. Yes, there is a couple of people employed in that, but they generally have other skill sets. And if you want to be in the games industry, it's about actually creating content, not playing it.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. I'm just going to look up to our students to see if they might have a question or two, but I've got one more before you go as well. Okay. Question about journalism?
Yep.
Oh, hold on.
Are the skills I would learn on this journalism course even transferable?
Okay, did you hear that?
No, I didn't. No, sorry.
No, okay. So I'm interested in political journalism.
Yep.
Is that something that and is involved in the school newspaper and the sixth form newspaper across our trust of schools already? What additional kind of skills would be required between now and university, those super curricular abilities and skills ready for university?
We love to see people who are already writing and have published work, whether it's in a local paper or a national paper, or even in a school paper. Love it. Keep it up. Write stories. Start your own blog over it. Write about stuff in your local community, things what I was passionate about, to tell a story, factual story. That's what we love to see. We run our own newspaper at Falmouth, and we're always looking for articles locally and nationally and stuff. And so our students are out there hunting for stories and learning about how to write copy in a quick world. But we're also going to teach you about digital skills and about how, you might not buy a newspaper anymore, but actually we get our news from so many different channels. I'm slightly old enough to remember the Huffington Post when it was nothing more than a blog post. Now it is a major news channel. So it's looking at and how people get their information. And if you look at yourselves, how you get information, look at all those different channels. You don't just watch the BBC News at 6 o'clock. You probably get it from YouTube, all different ways. So it's keeping those skill sets, keeping it interesting, and writing stories what actually people want to hear about. And don't be afraid of pushing those boundaries and telling the truth in something or raising an area which can be quite difficult to talk about. That's journalism.
Excellent. Thank you, Andy. You got any questions, miss? No? Okay. I've got one last question for you. I've been to Falmouth University myself back in the old days, and I've met recent graduates out of the university there. If you could kind of look for 3 attributes in the students that study at Falmouth, what kind of qualities do you look for in students to study at your university?
Passion. And passion. It's literally, if you have a passion for your subject area, we will give you the skills. Teamwork's really important, but if you don't have a passion for your subject area, you're going to really struggle at any university. But also, if you want a career in this, you've still got to be passionate about it. So you've got to live. You're almost thinking, oh my God, am I actually getting paid to do this job? I know that might sound a bit of a cliche, but we're looking at you. And when we look at your application, we look at you on your academic performance. We interview everyone, so we interview you and you interview us. And in a lot of our courses, we ask for your portfolio, a body of work, and that could be school work, college work, or it could be your own personal work. We're interested in you as a whole rather than just a name and a number, but you've got to have that passion. That's what we look for.
Thank you, Andy. That was absolutely brilliant. Sorry about the sound glitch in the middle
Oh,
bit.
it's all right. It's
It's the real world. We're not over corporate. So thank you very much.
No.
Take care, mate. Give us a shout if you need anything. If there's any new stuff that you want to promote to our students, email it to me. I'll share it on Twitter and we'll get it out to all of our student population. All right.
Brilliant, James. Always a pleasure. And whatever, good luck, everyone. Okay, see you soon.
Take care, Andy.